Mr. Topsy-Turvy, the round way wrong. If Mr. Topsy-Turvy can do something the wrong way round, then you can be certain that he will. Like the way he drives a car, which explains why you never see him driving a car. And why he travels by bus. Mr. Topsy-Turvy woke up early one morning. He has a very topsy-turvy way of sleeping in bed, as you can see. He yawned and stretched and got up. Then he went upstairs for breakfast. That's right, Mr. Topsy-Turvy's house is just as topsy-turvy as he is. All his bedrooms are downstairs and his kitchen and living room are upstairs. Mr. Topsy-Turvy decided to have cornflakes for breakfast. He opened the packet, but being Mr. Topsy-Turvy, he didn't pour the cornflakes out. Oh no, he poured the milk into the packet. His meals tend to be very messy affairs. After he had finished breakfast, Mr. Topsy-Turvy caught the bus into town. £1 for ticket, please, he said to the bus driver. The bus driver scratched his head. Don't you mean 1 ticket for town? He said. Right that's, said Mr. Topsy-Turvy. Mr. Topsy-Turvy speaks as topsy-turvily as everything else he does. Now this day was a rather special day for Mr. Topsy-Turvy. He had been saving up to buy a new house. He went into Mr. Holmes' estate agency and said, I'd like new to house a buy. Mr. Holmes knew Topsy-Turvy quite well. You mean you'd like to buy a new house? Right that's, said Mr. Topsy-Turvy for the second time that day. If you wait outside the front, I'll go get my car, said Mr. Holmes. And of course, Mr. Topsy waited outside the back. After Mr. Holmes eventually found him, they set off in the car to look at some houses. They looked at all sorts. Tall, skinny houses, short, squat houses, even short, skinny houses. But Mr. Topsy-Turvy didn't like any of them. None of them seemed quite right to him. As they were driving back to town, Mr. Topsy-Turvy suddenly shouted to Mr. Holmes to stop the car. Well, what he actually said was, "Stop car the," but Mr. Holmes knew what he meant. On the other side of a hedge was the strangest house you've ever seen. Everything was upside down. In fact, everything was topsy-turvy. And I'm sure you can guess whose house it was. Now, house of that sort want I, said Mr. Topsy-Turvy. But, said Mr. Holmes, but that's your house. Right that's, said Mr. Topsy-Turvy for the third time that day. But you can't move house into your own house, exclaimed Mr. Holmes. That would be all the way round wrong. I mean, the wrong way round. Mr. Topsy-Turvy grinned a huge grin. Exactly, he said.